Hi guys, so welcome to my presentation. My name is Minh Thư, and it's my honor to be here talking to you about the Paribay. But first, I would like to ask my beloved audience one question. Is that what comes to your mind when you hear the word the Paribay? Maybe the Caribbean island, right? Okay, so let me tell you this. Actually, the Pirate Bay, which stands for TBP, is a search engine with maybe a straight name for people who get used to such search engines as Google or Bing, saying is not so popular right now. And this website allows you to look for copyrighted information, video, or music and download them without any fees. And youngsters like you and me and our class these days prefer using pad applications like iTunes or Spotify may think this so strange, right? You guys may wonder, how could we download everything freely? Yes, but it's totally true. And just because of this problem that it was struggled with the courts and the governments of big countries all over the world. So let us cover about the case study of the Pirate Bay. Let's start. My presentation will consist of three following headings that will be easier for you guys to follow. And though headings also cover most of the issues we have to discuss about the Pirate Bay. The first is the case summary, the second is the case discussion, and the third is the conclusion. And first of all, I would like to briefly summarize the case, the Pirate Bay, certain for a safe haven. The case will go through four main parts. The first is the TPP background, the battle between the TPP and the Swedish court, the situation of TPP after the lawsuit, and reactions of the music industry to the scandal of TPP. So now I would like to introduce you guys some more information about the Pirate Bay. TPP has been one of the world's best known and most popular pirated music and content sites for over a decade. It allows users to download millions of copyrighted songs and thousands of copyrighted Hollywood movies, television shows, video games without being afraid of any fee charge. And what's more, TPP is also considered as a part of European social and political movement. You guys cannot imagine how big TPP was. So in April 2014, TPP recorded 6 millions of users. It was also one of top 100 websites in the world in terms of global traffic. Moreover, the Pirate Bay is the world's biggest torrent website, where each day they provide 10,000 new files, which is a very, very enormous number. Wow. But many people may confuse how TPP is managed. They may think that it operates the database of the copyrighted content, but actually it does not. Moreover, it does not run the network of the content owners, and it just plays an intermediary role for users to upload their sharing. And that also the reason why they claims not to create, own, or distribute the software. In point of fact, it acts as just a search engine where people enter the name and then it generates a list of search results from peer-to-peer network where copyrighted content can be found. And by doing this, users can get the thing they want. Very good, right? However, the action of TPP is considered as unauthorized file sharing sites that is resulted in an extremely serious consequence. The battle between the Swedish court and the TPP happened. Both sides had their own opinions. TPP claims that it is merely a search engine providing pointers to existing peer-to-peer networks. And what's more, the copyright laws have restricted and limited the free flow of information on the internet, which is very unfair. And last but not least, they insisted not encouraging, inciting, or enabling any illegal downloading. However, the Swedish court had their own opponent arguments. They claimed that there was no reason to think that TPP had obeyed the rules. Firstly, TPP was a money-making operation designed to produce profits for the owners. Next, TPP incited the copyright infringement and it violated the copyright laws for commercial intent. So, not only the Swedish government got angry with the unauthorized content sharing of TPP, but also another governments. So let's take a look what they did. They made a decision to amend the copyright law. For example, the US government forced the Swedish government to strengthen its copyright laws to prevent downloading. And next, Sweden adopted the European Union Conventions on Copyright, which provide content owners with the personal information like the names and the addresses of the people expected of sharing pirated files. In France, if users take part in pirated sites, they will be banned from the internet up to 3 years, which is a very strict punishment for ones especially who addicted to the internet. And even the European Union took actions. They refused to allow internet service providers in the countries to host or link to TPP. It means that no matter where in the world TPP servers are located, they are banned. As you can see, all the governments try their best to prevent internet users from the TPP because they believe that TPP has a very negative effect on the users. Fortunately, TPP appealed to the court judgment. It means that they didn't have to pay any fine or get any punishment, but it was affected seriously by the lawsuit. And after the Swedish court treatment in 2011, TPP still has things in France, Finland, Italy, Germany, US, and Greece. And next, in 2013, it has continued to operate by hopping from country to country. Nevertheless, 2014 was a dark year for TPP, since 3 out of 4 founders were arrested due to different crimes. Okay, and what's more, Carte Blanche, the site's primary financial backer, declared bankruptcy. It means that the financial situations of TPP were damaged. Wow. So they have to deal with the problems. And what's more, at that time, T is not a good idea to use TPP anymore for other reasons. Firstly, the site is now riddled with many malwares, from ads containing malwares to downloadable malware and ransomware masquerading as popular movies and TV programs. And what's more, it also frequently goes offline so that the user had difficulties in using the Pirate Bay. So they get tired. However, in 2016, the Pirate Bay returned to be top spot among sites of its kind, and it also was the largest video streaming site in the world. But the appearance of streaming digital distribution platforms had replaced peer-to-peer software download. Well, for example, in 2015, traffic from the Pirate Bay and its cohort accounted for just 2.76% of internet traffic during the peak hours, and compared to 36.48% from Netflix alone, which is a very far distance. We can explain this. So, due to its outstanding advantages, streaming platform accounts for a large number of the internet traffic, and TPP finds it difficult to compete with new and better ways to listen to music and videos. So, I have to say that TPP is on the wane. And now, let's move to the next part is the case discussion. So, in this part, I would like to answer some more questions about the Pirate Bay to analyze the case. So, now we will move to the first question is, why did TPP believe it was not violating copyright laws? And what did the Swedish court rule? Before I answer this question, I would like you guys to take a look at peer-to-peer network. So, peer-to-peer or B2B network is allow the peers, which are computer system connected to each other via the internet. Files can be shared directly between systems on the network without the need of a central server. As you can see on the slide, there is difference between the normal network and the peer-to-peer network. For example, in the normal network, if you want to download a file, you can download it from only one source, one website. But if you are in the peer-to-peer network, one person can download the file from one source and another user can download from the person. In other words, a computer on a peer-to-peer network becomes a file server as well as a client. And now, I would like you guys to discover about the BitTorrent protocol. This is how the Pirate Bay is operated. One person will take a file from another sources, and they are copyrighted content. And now, this person needs a tracker server, which is a special server that keeps track of the connected computers. And then the trackers will share the files to everyone. And this speeds up everyone download speed. If 10,000 people are downloading the same file, it doesn't put a lot of tracks on the central server. Instead, each downloader contributes upload bandwidth to other downloaders, ensuring the torrent stays fast. So the Pirate Bay pays on the information to claim that they are not against the laws. And then the TPP gave a lot of reasons explaining why they are not illegal. Firstly, they thought that they were just a search engine, that they did not control and take responsibility for what content users ultimately find on peer-to-peer networks. It means that they are just an intermediary and they they do not take care of the informations on this. And secondly, they think that government must respect people's freedom. The TPP did not violate the Swedish copyright law, since people have the right to access freely to the information on the internet. And lastly, they claim that they did not encourage or enable illegality, and according to the company, they just allow people to share and download files, which is not an illegal action. And they also think that they have some rules for the user to upload the files, and the files must not be illegal. So TPP was not illegal. But all of the claims of the TPP was denied by the Swedish court because of some reasons. The firstly, because TPP provided a website with certain functions, easy uploading and storage possibilities, and a trackers, so they could then control the copyrighted content. This means that they encourage copyright infringement. And next is the awareness of illegal actions. All the four founders, four defendants, had been aware of the fact that the copyrighted material was shared with the help of their site, but they did not take any actions. And lastly, TPP was illegal commercial enterprise. TPP violated the copyright law to make money for the owners. Okay, so you guys know this. The purpose of TPP was on profits for the owners through advertisement. And the founders acknowledged that free copyrighted content met the demand of a great number of users, which provided them with much more profits from the advertising activities, right? And as a result, the court returned a verdict of guilty of violating the Swedish copyright laws and sentenced four founders of TPP 1 year in prison. And the judgment did not stop there, since TPP was fined up to $3.5 million in restitution to all Swedish divisions of the major record firms such as Warner Music, Sony. And now let's move to the next question is how did TPP manage to continue operating despite being found in violations of the copyright laws? Okay, so after the lawsuit, TPP had tried their best to continue the operation of the company. The first actions is it had moved its servers into case in Sweden and dispersed millions of copies of its programs to another countries. And to avoid the lawsuit and the police raid, as well as the confiscations of servers, TPP frequently changed its IP address, and it also has things in France, Finland, Italy, Germany, Denmark, Ireland, the UK, and the Greece. And although many countries tried to prevent TPP from the Internet, the company continued to operate by hopping from country to country. In 2014, TPP introduced some new platforms like the P2P BitTorrent browser applications and the Mobile Bay with the hope to increase the user of the Peripay. And in 2016, TPP moved back to its original .org domain from 2003. We put it back within the crosshairs of the United States since since the Swedish court ruled that the state could confiscate its top-level Swedish demands. Despite the fact that the company had the tendency to go down, it still had resilience that other sites lack by celebrating its 13th anniversary in 2016. And TPP was also the top spot among sites of its kind after a multi-years hiatus due to its leadership upheaval and frequent closures. Although they also contribute to the decreasing users of the Peripay, but it is also the attempt to continue operation. And lastly, it became the largest video streaming site in the world thanks to a plugin that allows users to stream the pirated content directly from the browsers. And the last question is, how has the music industry reacted to the problems created by pirates like TPP? Okay, so first, the government take legal actions against some peer-to-peer sharing services like Grosser, Kazaa, Streamcast for encouraging the distribution of patented materials. And next, they drastically changed its business model to streaming digital distribution platform to avoid sharing copyrighted content. They encourage the use of technology platform owners and media distributors that provide streaming service like Apple, Amazon, or Google. So now I would like to analyze what is the advantages and disadvantages of both ways, peer-to-peer and streaming data. So first, as you can see, the advantages of peer-to-peer is it allows the free access and less costly compared to the streaming. And next, they have more information available as and they allow multiple computers to share the information stored so that it will put less pressures on the central computer. And with the case of the streaming data, security is a plus point. It means that credentials needed to get access to the data, so we don't have to be afraid about the the unauthorized content. And next, music is accessible at all times as long as you have the internet connection. And the music can be stored on cloud without taking up the device hard drive. Lastly, streaming data is also a way of respecting the media creators and it also avoids illegal downloads and privacy. Okay, and now let's take a look at the disadvantages. You guys know that everything has their own advantages and disadvantages. So first, take a look at the peer-to-peer. Firstly, peer-to-peer has low browsing speed. So while you are connected to a peer-to-peer network, there would be a decrease in downloading speed as it takes up a lot of bandwidth. And next, the malwares and the viruses are available in peer-to-peer network. Viruses can be easily transmitted. Therefore, maximum security is needed to protect the system from viruses. And lastly, peer-to-peer is unsuitable with mobile devices. The limitation in terms of the networking capabilities, the storage, the electrical powers, and the processing power has stopped users from using the mobile to connect to the peer-to-peer network. And about the streaming data, the very first drawbacks is it is not free. We have to pay fees to use data by using the streaming platform. But in order to serve the copyright laws, streaming data is more costly compared to the peer-to-peer. So not only the fees we have to pay for the content, but we also have to pay for the storage fees like that. And next, because streaming data requires the internet connection, so uh, there is no offline access. And data is stored on cloud, and once you are unable to connect to the web or find an internet connection, you can get access to the data. And lastly, streaming data just like media streaming only. It only provides media streaming, not other platforms like softwares, games, or applications. However, as you can see, if the government take advantage of the streaming data, it will create a win-win solution. The government and the owner of the content can protect their their information, their products like music or videos, and what's more, the owners can earn profits from the streaming data. And with the users, they do not have to be scared of violating the copyright laws. And actually, some streaming data platforms like iTunes or Spotify have are very easy to use and to download. So it will be better. And next is the last part, the conclusion. As you can see, we can learn a lot from the case of the Pirate Bay, and this lesson can be applied for the first is the company. So the company are encouraged to consciously execute the laws and the rules, and next they must avoid their actions that considered to be illegal, so that they will not be struggled with the court and the government. And lastly, companies have to thoroughly consider the risks and the threats of the business. I know that the purpose of every organization, every company is to earn profits as much as possible, but they cannot be against the laws, right? And next is for the governments. The governments must apply strictly the Internet rules. And next, they have to enforce stronger punishment for the copyright infringement so that they can set an example for the citizens not to not to against the laws. And lastly, they must encourage other platforms that not only give people the right to access to the information easily, but also not violate the copyright laws. And especially for Vietnam, you know, nowadays Vietnamese users can get access to a large amount of information easily via some websites like Zing MP3 or nhaccotoi.com. But actually, the copyright laws in Vietnam is not so strict. For example, recently, Zing MP3 had many problems in terms of the authorized visions of the Taylor Swift. So, Vietnamese internet users must be aware of the importance of the copyright laws, and Vietnamese government must strengthen the rules of copyright law not only for music or videos but also literature and the art. Okay, so you can see that TPP have both benefits and drawbacks. It benefits it to provide users with a lot of information, video, without without being scared of any fees. But this is illegal. So this is a very, very bad action of one company. Okay, so that's all I want you to know about the case of the Pirate Bay. And if you have any questions or anything that you don't understand, please contact me via my email on the slide or you can comment down below. So thank you so much for listening and see you in the next video. Thank you.